Alright guys, Epic fucking Slayers here and welcome to today's video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you the MP7 build that I ran in my video yesterday that got me 47 kills. I've had quite a lot of requests, so I thought I'd do this video for you guys so you know exactly how I melted those people. Before we get into the video, I just want to thank every single one of you again for the support on my videos. If you can drop a like on this one, it would be much appreciated, and if you are new and enjoy my content, then please do subscribe and turn on notifications. It would really help me out. Let's get into the build that shredded those people. So, here we go guys. This is the build that I used to shred in that PvP gameplay in Last Stand the other day that I did 47 kills on in my last video. Now the MP7 that I'm using, as you can see here, 21.5% crit chance, 22.5k damage. It's got deadly, responsive and unforgiving. Pretty much god roll that you'd want for a PvP talent. Some people say that competent is better than unforgiving, but in my opinion unforgiving is better when you have it in the third slot. That extra 25% damage does make a big difference, and plus it procs all the time as long as your health's being removed, if that makes sense, whereas competent, you know, it only procs when you're using a pulse or a skill, so that only comes back every 30 or 40 seconds, but again, that depends on your electronics. If you are going to run competent, then ideally you want to be running a higher electronics build, maybe a high-end electronics build, and thus to get that, you know, competent to proc as often as possible. So that's the MP7. What I will go over is just show you the mods that I'm currently using for this. So I'm trying to spec into crit damage as much as possible and crit chance. So as you can see on here, my extended mag, I've got crit chance, crit damage and magazine size. Now I could have put on rate of fire, but really I just think 1002 rate of fire is kind of overkill, to be honest. And 4% crit damage, yeah, it's not a lot, but it does help. Of course, in 1.6.1, the mag size will be changed, or sorry, it will be, because at the moment it's kind of, it's in a bad place. What I mean by that is it's not working as intended. The magazine size will be able to go up to 121%, which will just make the MP7 even more stronger in 1.6.1, and I can imagine you'll be seeing it a lot more than what you currently do. For the small grip, I've gone for crit damage, reload speed, stability. Of course, reload speed is quite important on the MP7 because you only have 42 bullets in a mag. You run out of bullets quickly, so having that little bit of extra reload speed does help, although 5% really isn't going to do much for you. Moving on to the loud vent break. As you can see here, I've got crit damage, crit chance, headshot damage, pretty standard stuff here. I mean, headshot damage isn't important. Critical hit damage, critical hit chance is very important, and that's really what you want to try and be going for. This is almost a god roll loud vent break, almost max roll. Headshot damage, the highest is 6%, so not far off that. Moving on to the scope, we've got crit hit damage, headshot damage, crit hit chance. Again, that's all you really want to be going for, to be honest, is crit chance and crit damage. This build actually has, I believe I can get the cap almost of 60% crit chance when I pulse, so which is really nice, obviously. So that's pretty good. So if I go onto my gear, I'm not going to show you the M700 carbon because that's really not what you're here for. But if I go onto my gear, so I am running a reckless chest piece. Now, if you look on my stamina, I've got 3848. Okay, and the reason why I've got that stamina is because I use a reckless chest piece with it. I just find that works better than running, for example, a lower stam, say 2.8, but then not having reckless. I actually prefer having reckless. So as you can see here, it's rolled into firearms. It's got health, exotic damage resilience, and ammo capacity. At the moment, exotic damage resilience is really important, and it still will be in the future because of seeker mines. So it does mean I can take a little bit of a hit from a seeker mine, although I can still get one shot with this build. I would potentially look for a reckless piece with a bit of skill haste. I always like to get skill haste where I can get it. So yeah, that's really the reckless chest piece there. And with the mods, I'm always going to be speccing into firearms and health. Health is really important. It's the best place to get the health to keep, so you're just not unbelievably squishy. Which with this build, I'm not ridiculously squishy. I can take a few bullets, but the thing with this build is you are just going to be putting out a lot of damage, so ultimately you won't be taking that much because the player would already be dead. Moving on to the mask, got Tenacious Mask, rolled into firearms, got 4% crit chance and burn resistance. Again, this build is made primarily for PvP. I'm trying to get to the crit cap so that when I am hitting, you know, other players, I am getting those crits as often as possible. So we've got crit chance, burn resistance on this particular piece. Operators pads, I've got accomplished pads. Really, you want to be running short bow knee pads here, but I run these because my RNG sucks. And again, I've got health, disrupt resistance, blind death resistance, and shock resistance. Really, you want to be getting shock resistance, bleed resistance, and fire resistance there. Of course, these are not by any means the best that you can get, but this is what I ran in the in the video where I got 47 kills. So going on to the tactical pack, as you can see, specialized, of course, very important on this build. It gives you that little bit of extra skill power that you do need for your health and also for the pulse there. Running firearms, health, burn resistance. Health is a little bit low, but of course if you're running in last stand, that's not that important. Burn resistance, again, very important. What with Seekers and fire turrets become, you know, being a bit of a problem at the moment, it does help a little bit. Obviously the crux of the build, the Skull MC gloves, I mean the high-end build doesn't work without it. You get the 16% extra damage when no set bonuses are active, so you do need these. These are rolled into stamina, so this is kind of where I get a little bit of stamina from. Crit chance, critical hit damage, SMG damage. The crit chance is 5.5%, you know, max being 6. Crit damage is at 15%, I believe the max is 17%. And then SMG damage is almost at the top, which is, I believe the highest is 1001. So again, in last stand it doesn't make much difference, but if you are wanting to run a build like this in Dark Zone, then this isn't min-max by any means, but it's not too bad, to be honest. I used it in the Dark Zone and it still absolutely shreds. Lastly, moving on to Nimble, and I've rolled this into crit chance. Again, you could run health on this, but I find that the health amount that you get is quite low. It's between, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 and 8,000. It's quite low, and I actually prefer the crit chance on this particular piece, to be honest. So there you go. I will just quickly show you the mods here. As I said, I got firearms mod, and apart from that, the performance mods that I'm running will always be 6% first aid self heal. That makes a big difference when I'm in sort of low health. It gives me that extra 24% heal, which is definitely worth it. So if I actually go onto my character here, you may be able to see 43.5% crit chance, and obviously that's not maxed. In last stand it's more around the 46%. 115% crit damage. With my pulse, I've almost got 60% crit chance. So, and my crit damage is obviously a little bit higher, so that's really important. So I'll just quickly go on to the abilities that I currently run with this build. Of course, I am running the Scrambler Pulse, very, very important. There's no reason why you should be running a tactical scanner unless you're playing in a team and they're running a Scrambler. And the reason why is because when you run Scrambler, you know, the enemy pulse is negated, so, you know, they're not being able to crit you as often. It does help with survivability quite a lot. And the actual difference between these two is only, what, 3.1% crit damage, which is minimal. But as you can see, crit chance is at 9%, crit damage is at 9.2% as well. So yeah, with my crit chance being at 46 in last stand, you're looking at about 56% crit chance, which is very good. On the heal, I'm using Overdose, and the reason I use Overdose is to help with that survivability, really. There's no reason why I should run Booster Shot with this build because my DPS is already very high, and the 61% self-heal that you get is minimal. I always use the Overdose on this particular build. The only time I would use the Booster Shot is if I'm running an electronics build with Vigorous, then I would want to use that, but with this build, I am running Overdose. Talents-wise, I don't know. I think in the video I didn't change them. As you can see, I had stupid ones on like this, which I wouldn't normally have on. I would probably normally have on... no, I wouldn't even have on that. I would normally have on... So, always have on Tac Advance because it works really well with Nimble. That's a given. Strike Back, I find, works well. Critical Save, again, you definitely need that, and normally I have Evasive Action. The reason I have Evasive Action is because when I'm using Nimble, you know, you're a pretty easy target, and it reduces that damage that you're taking by 30%, which is significant in Nimble, makes a big difference. And so, you know, if you make it to the cover, you get that heal, you get Tac Advance, and you can fucking melt players. It's truly awesome. Well, there you go. That's what I mean. That's pretty much the build, guys, to be honest. Apart from that, you know, I run the standard Tac Link. I love the Tac Link. I always find that in Last Stand, the recovery link never actually works for your team. It's really, really weird. I don't know if that's a bug, but that's the build, guys. So, yeah, hope you did enjoy this one. For all the people who asked for this, I hope you enjoyed this one as well. I will be using the MP7 a lot more. I absolutely fucking love this weapon. I recently actually did a high-end electronics build. Wasn't as good as this one for DPS, but for overall survivability it helped, although my toughness was very low, and it was kind of like I think I had about 5,000 to 6,000 firearms, I had about 4,000 stam, and I had about 5,000 electronics. It was a very good build, but I personally just like pure out and out DPS, and that's what this build is. This is a pure DPS build, just YOLO McSwag in there and wreck faces, as you saw it in my video yesterday. If you've not checked it out, then please do. The Last Stand gameplay from yesterday. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for all your support, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.